Tonight, you'll hear about the most remarkable financial and image resurrection in pop culture history and get a rare look at what Michael Jackson left behind.
For years, whispers have woven through the narrative of Michael Jackson's enigmatic life. Tales of hidden chambers and untold secrets tucked away at his sprawling Neverland ranch. While many have dismissed these stories as mere speculation, the enduring fascination with what might lie concealed behind the estate's fabled doors continues to captivate. This isn't just about music or memorabilia. It's about rewriting the narrative of a man whose legacy, once thought unshakable, now faces persistent questions. The truth, often elusive, is now being revisited, and with it, it's the very essence of what we believed about the king of pop, beyond the rusted gates and dust-covered boxes. Rumors abound of handwritten notes, gilded artifacts, and unheard recordings. The deeper one delves, the more peculiar the narrative becomes. Unmarked cases, hidden compartments, and objects defying explanation. Was Neverland merely storage, or something more profound, a message, a warning, or perhaps both? Following his unparalleled ascent in the 1980s, a period where Michael Jackson reigned supreme on the global music stage with groundbreaking albums like Thriller and Bad, he made a pivotal acquisition that would become as iconic as his moonwalk. In March 1988, Jackson purchased a 2,700-acre estate in the hills of Los Olivos, California, for $19.5 million. He christened it Neverland Ranch, a name inspired by the mythical island in Peter Pan where children never grow up. For Jackson, Neverland was more than a home, was a meticulously crafted escape from reality, built on imagination, whimsy, and a yearning for the childhood he felt he never truly experienced. The ranch was unlike anything the world had ever witnessed. Best described as a private Disneyland nestled in the countryside. Jackson incorporated full-sized amusement park, rides including a Ferris wheel, bumper cars, a carousel, and even a miniature roller coaster. He installed a movie theater capable of seating 50 people, complete with a private box for his personal viewing. A working train traversed the vast property, winding past meticulously manicured gardens, serene lakes, and expansive fields. Complementing these attractions was a zoo, home to exotic animals such as giraffes, elephants, llamas, tigers, and more. At its core stood his main residence, a storybook mansion adorned with elegant woodwork, ornate chandeliers, and rooms brimming with art, collectibles, and curiosities from across the globe. For Jackson, Neverland was symbolic. It was a place where he could reconnect with a sense of innocence, removed from the pressures of fame and the chaos of the outside world. In interviews, he frequently referred to it as his personal paradise, a sanctuary where joy and creativity flourished, unburdened by judgment or responsibility. He often invited underprivileged or ill children to spend the day there, hoping to share happiness with those who needed it most. However, as the years progressed, Neverland's image began to transform. In the early 1990s, Jackson's life became increasingly ensnared in legal battles and intense media scrutiny. Allegations of inappropriate behavior emerged, many directly linked to Neverland itself. The very place that once symbolized escape and joy was now being scrutinized in courtrooms and tabloids. Every facet of the ranch, from its rides to its rooms and private spaces, suddenly became subjects of speculation and public interest. By the time the 2005 trial commenced, Neverland was no longer the sanctuary it once was. Though Jackson was acquitted of all charges, the experience exacted a heavy toll on him. After the trial, Jackson reportedly never spent another night at Neverland. The estate, once vibrant with music, laughter, and the hum of carnival rides, fell silent. Maintenance dwindled, animals were relocated, and the Ferris wheel ceased its turning. The dream world Jackson had meticulously constructed slowly receded into memory. When Michael Jackson passed away suddenly in 2009, fans worldwide mourned. Tributes flooded in, and his music surged back to the top of the charts. Yet, while the world remembered him, Neverland remained eerily quiet. In the years leading up to his death, a portion of the estate had already been transferred to a real estate investment firm. With Jackson gone, the property lay abandoned. The grand gates were closed, the lawns overgrown, and the once vibrant rides left to rust. Over time, Neverland became a mere shadow of its former self. In 2015, the ranch was quietly listed under a new name, Sycamore Valley Ranch, for $100 million. The Neverland moniker was removed in an attempt to make the property more appealing. 2 potential buyers. Still, it languished on the market for years, even as the price plummeted to $67 million, then to $31 million. Interested buyers came and went, but few were willing to acquire a place so deeply entwined with controversy and emotion. Eventually, in 2020, the ranch was finally sold to billionaire Ron Burkle, a friend of the Jackson family, for $22 million, significantly below the original $100 million asking price. Burkle's plans for the estate were never explicitly stated, though some speculated he purchased it either as a land investment or to shield it from further public attention. Despite its new owner and new name to the world, it would always be Neverland. The ranch's legacy has persisted, not merely as real estate, but as a symbol of everything Michael Jackson embodied. Even after its sale, stories and rumors surrounding Neverland never fully abated. Over the years, whispers of hidden rooms, secret passageways, and sealed storage areas at Neverland began to surface. One particularly persistent myth that continued to ignite curiosity was the story of the locked garage. According to several unconfirmed sources, Jackson maintained a private garage on the property that few staff ever entered, and that was strictly off-limits to visitors. Its contents have remained a mystery. As time has passed, the legend of the locked garage has only intensified, with former employees making vague references to it in interviews. Some claim it held items Jackson wished to keep private, while others assert it remained untouched for years, its contents never catalogued or moved even after his death. Now, over a decade later, the garage has reportedly been opened, and what was found inside takes an unexpected turn. Was it merely a storage room for old tour gear, a collection of rare memorabilia, or something more personal? It's time to delve inside. 4 years. Whispers of a sealed garage at Michael Jackson's Neverland Ranch have circulated online like smoke from a long-extinguished fire. According to the lore, one garage on the 2,700-acre property remained completely untouched. Some claim it was locked even to Jackson's closest staff, while others go so far as to assert that not even family members were permitted entry. That specific garage door, the story goes, was never opened during raids, never photographed by journalists, and never acknowledged in any official reports. It was, in the minds of some fans and skeptics alike, the last unopened door in the Jackson universe. The legend of the locked garage first gained traction online around the mid-2010s. Years after Jackson's death, it originated in fan forums before spreading across Reddit threads and eventually found a second life on YouTube. Content creators seeking mystery and intrigue began uploading videos with bold titles like, "They finally opened Michael Jackson's secret garage," or "What Michael Jackson hid in Neverland's most mysterious room." These videos garnered millions of views, feeding a global audience hungry for more details about the King of Pop's secretive life. Many claimed the garage had been custom-built by Jackson himself, complete with a biometric lock, underground storage, and state-of-the-art security systems that were ahead of their time. By 2024, the myth had taken on a life of its own. Several YouTubers, citing unnamed sources, claimed the garage was finally opened that year. One particular video, since reposted across platforms, declared that astonishing artifacts were uncovered. Inside, supposedly, the items included handwritten letters, unreleased music, stage outfits, personal journals, and even messages Jackson left behind for his children. One theory even suggested there was a vault within the garage containing tapes. Jackson recorded 4 private-use audio diaries chronicling his thoughts in the final years of his life. The details were enticing, and the viewership proved that interest in Jackson's story had never truly faded. Some videos were highly produced, with ominous music and reenactments, lending an illusion of credibility. Others leaned heavily on speculation, offering no real proof but speaking confidently about inside sources and confirmed leaks. To someone watching without context, the claims could sound convincing because they hinted at secrets, closure, and a final glimpse into the mind of one of pop culture's most enigmatic figures. But here's where reality steps in. Despite how widespread the garage story has become online, no credible news outlet has ever confirmed that such a garage raid took place, let alone in 2024. Major publications, from the New York Times to the BBC to Rolling Stone, have not reported on any secret storage discovery at Neverland. Not a single legal document, court record, or police statement has supported the claims that a sealed garage was opened and yielded hidden contents of major significance. In fact, when one examines the official investigations that surrounded Michael Jackson during his lifetime, the idea that something could have remained hidden seems unlikely. Between 1993 and 2005, Jackson's home, including Neverland, was subjected to intense scrutiny. There were two major investigations, both involving law enforcement officials conducting searches of the ranch. The 2003 search alone involved more than 70 sheriff's deputies combing through Jackson's property for over 12 hours. They went room by room, gathering everything from hard drives to private notes, leaving nothing to chance. If indeed there had been a locked garage hiding controversial or groundbreaking material, it likely would have been uncovered during those raids, especially since even the FBI became involved. After Jackson's death, his full FBI file was released to the public, spanning over 300 pages. It included reports, interviews, and documents related to all prior allegations. However, in all those pages, there was no mention of a sealed garage or a hidden chamber. In 2009, the FBI even went on record stating that they found no evidence of criminal conduct by Jackson. This was not speculation. It was on file and available for public review. Still, the myth persists. It keeps resurfacing. It's often shared by people who genuinely believe there's more to the story, or by creators chasing the next viral hit. And it's not hard to understand why. Michael Jackson was a deeply private person, and his life was filled with unusual habits, creative quirks, and a lifestyle that most people will never fully comprehend. He built secret rooms in his homes, not to conceal anything sinister, but to feel safe. He collected everything from toys to antique furniture, and often kept memorabilia stored away in vaults. So when people hear about a locked garage, it doesn't sound far-fetched, as it aligns with the image they've constructed of Jackson over the years, the brilliant but reclusive star, who always had another secret waiting to be uncovered. But here's the crucial point. The locked garage story, as compelling as it is, exists primarily in the space between fact and fantasy. It's internet lore, the kind of narrative that thrives in the absence of concrete proof. Like many stories about famous figures who've passed away, it is shaped less by evidence and more by imagination. The myth survives not because it's been verified, but because people want to believe there's still something we don't know. That maybe, just maybe, Michael Jackson left behind one last message, one last performance, or one last clue about who he truly was. At its core, the garage story reflects something very real about Jackson's legacy, his fiercely guarded privacy. Even in life, he was impossible to fully understand. Surrounded by security, legal teams, managers, and layers of public persona, he often kept his true self hidden. This sense of mystery didn't dissipate when he died. If anything, it deepened. Once someone is gone, there's no way to ask follow-up questions or clarify rumors. All that remains are the stories people tell and how those stories evolve over time. So while the idea of a locked garage being opened in 2024 is interesting, even exciting, it's important to step back and recognize it for what it likely is. A reflection of our ongoing fascination with a man who kept much of his life behind closed doors. And perhaps that's why stories like this continue to spread. They offer a sense of closeness to someone who always felt a little out of reach. In the end, whether or not that garage exists, and whether or not it's ever opened, likely doesn't change much about what we already know. Michael Jackson was a musical genius, a pop icon, and a deeply complex person who lived large and left behind a legacy filled with both brilliance and controversy. The garage myth doesn't reveal new facts, but it does show us how powerful storytelling can be, even in the absence of proof. Even as the dust settles on that myth, another curiosity is beginning to rise. One that has little to do with the ranch itself and everything to do with what was left behind inside the vehicles Jackson once drove. Could the truth be hiding in plain sight? If the locked garage really existed, what was inside? Old legends, lost treasures, or maybe something with wheels? Let's take a closer look. It might come as a surprise to some, but Michael Jackson wasn't only passionate about music, dance, or elaborate stage design. It's also harbored a genuine love for cars, especially those that appeared to be pulled straight from a movie set or royal motorcade. Over the years, Jackson amassed a one-of-a-kind vehicle collection that was as extravagant and mysterious as the man himself. From gold-plated limousines to custom tour buses, each vehicle told a story. And if the rumors about a sealed garage at Neverland Ranch were ever proven true, there's every reason to believe some of these incredible machines might be sitting there, gathering dust. One of the most talked-about vehicles in Jackson's collection was his 1999 Rolls-Royce Silver Seraph Stretch limousine. But this wasn't your typical Rolls-Royce, even by luxury standards. Okay, this particular model was fully customized to reflect Jackson's love for ornate European design, especially the lavish interiors of the Palace of Versailles in France. The inside of the limo was trimmed in 24-karat gold plating, with hand-stitched leather seats, deep velvet accents, and polished wood paneling. Every detail, from the ceiling mirrors to the embroidery, bore Jackson's unmistakable taste. Even the dashboard, usually sleek and subtle in a standard Rolls, was transformed into something more theatrical. This limousine was so unique that it was listed in a high-profile auction catalog back in 2009. Shortly after Jackson's passing, it captured the attention of collectors and fans alike, not just for its aesthetics, but for its direct connection to a pop culture icon. However, despite the buzz, it never sold. Whether it was withdrawn before the sale, retained by the estate, or held back for personal reasons has never been clarified. But its exact whereabouts remain unknown to this day, which only heightens the curiosity surrounding what Jackson might have kept hidden. And that was far from the only limousine he owned. Jackson seemed to have a particular fondness for Rolls-Royces, as another notable piece in his fleet was a 1990 Rolls-Royce Silver Spur to limousine. This one wasn't as flashy as the Versailles-inspired Seraph, but it still exuded his signature style. The Silver Spur, too, featured a long wheelbase, providing the kind of spacious interior Jackson preferred, especially for privacy during travel. It was finished in a sleek black paint job with a custom interior built to his specifications. Whether he used it for business meetings, events, or simply quiet drives around Los Angeles, it added another layer to his reputation for traveling like royalty. But Jackson's automotive taste wasn't limited to just limos. He also had vehicles built for life on the road, and a prime example is his 1997 Neoplan tour bus. Unlike the standard tour buses seen parked outside concert venues, Jackson's was something else entirely. The bus was designed as a rolling luxury suite, complete with lounge areas, audio-visual systems, even gold-plated fixtures. The toilet and sink inside were both plated in gold, a choice that perfectly matched Jackson's well-documented love for the extravagant. This wasn't just transportation. It was an extension of his lifestyle. Mobile opulence tailored to meet the needs of a global superstar constantly on tour. In fact, Jackson's approach to cars was similar to how he approached his music and performances. It was never about settling for what was standard. He liked to customize everything and make it his own. Many of the vehicles in his collection were tailored to fit his very specific aesthetic, blending luxury with a childlike sense of wonder. He reportedly owned several other cars as well, including Bentleys, Cadillacs, and even fire trucks and go-karts for the children who visited Neverland. His garages were not filled with ordinary cars. They were filled with conversation starters and rolling works of art. What makes the garage story even more intriguing is what else might be hidden beyond the vehicles. Jackson was known to archive nearly everything, from letters, stage props, costumes, notebooks, and even unreleased music. In multiple interviews, over the years, producers and collaborators hinted that Jackson recorded hundreds of songs that never saw the light of day. Some were rough demos, while others were nearly complete tracks that simply didn't make it onto his albums. So, if indeed a garage at Neverland was truly sealed off, who's to say what might still be in there? The idea that these things could still be waiting to be discovered is part of what keeps Jackson's mystique alive. His life was built around careful control of image and access. He shared what he wanted to share and kept the rest close. Whether this garage is real or simply another chapter in the growing mythology around Neverland, taps into something very real: people's belief that Jackson always held something back. Even after all this time, there's still a feeling that not everything has been revealed. His impact on music, fashion, and global culture is already cemented. But the sense that more could be discovered keeps his legacy dynamic. Stories like The Garage and the Missing Vehicles feel like pieces of a larger puzzle, one that may never be fully completed. So if that garage does exist, it wouldn't be surprising to find more than a few of Jackson's custom vehicles locked behind its doors. But maybe there's something else in there too. Something we didn't expect, and something no one outside of his closest circle has ever seen or heard. If these legendary vehicles were real, what else could be hiding in the shadows? Costumes? Demos? Let's open the door to the treasure trove fans can't stop talking about. If the stories were true, what could possibly be inside that mysterious locked garage at Neverland? It's a question fans and internet sleuths have pondered for years, and the theories never cease. Some are rooted in Jackson's known habits, while others are pure speculation. Perhaps it holds stacks of unreleased music demos concealed for decades. Imagine discovering a brand new Michael Jackson song today, recorded in his prime. Others believe the garage could contain handwritten journals filled with lyrics, personal reflections, or private letters. Some envision racks of stage costumes. From iconic performances or rare collectibles, Jackson never put on public display. And then there are the simpler guesses: old furniture, tour props, or equipment. But even those would be meaningful, simply because they once belonged to Michael Jackson. Speculation like this isn't without reason. Because Jackson was known to be a collector, a perfectionist, and a deeply private person, he often held on to things for emotional reasons or simply because he desired full control over what was seen and what remained behind the curtain. So when people hear rumors about a locked garage, especially one that no staff or family were allowed to enter, it sparks intense curiosity. What could he have wanted to keep so private, and why? This curiosity only intensified after a real event in late 2024 added fuel to the fire. A longtime collector, though not affiliated with the Jackson estate, reportedly discovered a storage unit located a few miles from Neverland. Inside were 12 cassette tapes containing unreleased Michael Jackson songs recorded between 1989 and 1991. These weren't full studio masters, but demos. Industry insiders verified some of the tracks as authentic, though they haven't been officially released. That discovery sent shockwaves through fan communities because it proved that there really were unheard Jackson recordings out there. And if something like that could sit unnoticed in a random storage unit for decades, who's to say what might still be hiding in a sealed garage on Jackson's actual property? It's moments like this that keep people invested in these stories, because they blur the line between possibility and fantasy. But it also raises an important point. When we talk about things like the locked garage, are we chasing real clues or simply buying into clickbait? Because while it's fun to wonder what might be hidden away, it's also worth asking what we actually know. And when we look at what's documented, the picture changes. First, there has never been a verified report by any credible source that confirms the existence of a garage at Neverland sealed off in the way some stories describe. Most of the rumors trace back to anonymous forum posts, recycled YouTube claims, or hearsay from secondhand sources. They are light on detail and heavy on mystery, which makes them great for storytelling, but not strong evidence. Second, Jackson's properties were heavily searched between 1993 and 2005 by multiple law enforcement agencies, including the FBI. Officers cataloged items room by room. Search warrants covered electronics, documents, personal belongings, and even storage areas. So if there had been a sealed-off garage containing something unusual, or worse, it would likely have been noted somewhere in the official record. Third, after Jackson's death, the estate went through a formal process of valuation. This meant inventory teams combed through his assets to determine what existed, what was valuable, and what needed to be secured. Appraisers, estate lawyers, and real estate professionals all had access to the property, but no reports from that period mention a dramatic discovery inside a forgotten garage. If anything, the findings were pretty ordinary: memorabilia, furniture, clothing, and personal items. Some things were emotional, others were historically interesting, but nothing on the level of a long-lost music vault or secret treasure room. This is where the line between fact and internet fiction becomes clear. The locked garage story continues. To live online not because of what was found, but because of what could be found. It's a myth built on absence, and myths like this thrive in a digital age where views, shares, and speculation often matter more than verified information. Still, the appeal is understandable. Michael Jackson wasn't just a celebrity. He was a cultural figure, so wrapped in mystery that people naturally wonder what they never got to see. His need for privacy and his global fame make him a perfect subject for these kinds of stories. The locked garage becomes a symbol of unanswered questions of what still might be waiting in the shadows. But the facts, as they stand, tell a more grounded story. What was found in Jackson's homes, according to police and estate records, mostly involved items we already knew he had: stage outfits, tour props, art collections, fan letters, and personal effects. In some cases, authorities found materials unrelated to any crime but considered unusual or eccentric. There were no confirmed discoveries of secret rooms with unreleased albums or vaults filled with classified documents. If anything, the mystery turned out to be more mundane than magical. This doesn't mean Jackson didn't have secrets, because most people do. But the locked garage, as far as anyone can prove, remains exactly what it sounds like: a story. It's an idea passed around in videos and forums, built on real details about Jackson's love for collecting and his desire for control, but not supported by any hard evidence. Still, stories like this tend to persist as they represent a kind of hope for fans, a belief that something new might still surface. Maybe an unheard song or a diary entry that sheds light on what Jackson really thought in his quietest moments. Maybe something as simple as a piece of furniture from Neverland that still carries the scent of the cologne he wore. This is why the myth hasn't disappeared, because it is not about proving something anymore. It's about keeping part of Jackson's story alive. As long as there's even a sliver of possibility, people will keep looking, keep asking, and keep hoping. Not everything has to be a hidden treasure. Sometimes the real story lies in what's already known. And yet the possibility, however faint, lingers. So what do you think might be hidden behind Neverland's most talked about garage? Could there really be unreleased music, lost memorabilia, or is it all just speculation? Do you believe a treasure trove exists, or have the myths gone too far? Share your thoughts in the comments below.